Hi guys, so I'm Ben, I'm from Agents Academy. I won't stand on the stage because I feel like I'm doing a proper TED talk then. But yeah, so Agents Academy, we're a programme, a CIC, that help young people get into digital and creative roles across the Northwest. So we are here today as a Facebook partner to deliver some Facebook digital skills training. The two modules that we'll be delivering today are web presence, so how to make the web work for you, and we'll also be doing social media marketing. So they're about an hour each module. We'll have like a 15-20 minute break in between, a little bit of a comfort break, and then we'll come back and do the social media marketing. So is everyone ready to go? Yay. Is everyone ready to go? Yay. There you go. Sorry about my voice, I'm a little bit sick by the way, so it is breaking. So let's get started. So web presence, there are more machines connected to the internet than there are people in the world. And that does sound a little bit spooky, it's a little bit Big Brother, but it just goes to show how much opportunity there is out there for us. So we've all got smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, even cars connected to the internet. But it just goes to show how much, there's so much opportunity for us to put ourselves out there. And we're going to talk a little bit about web presence, how to have a web presence, and how to improve your web presence if you've already got one. By the way, if there are any questions, just pop your hand up. It's not one of those things where I just talk at you. Please feel free to ask any questions. So in this session, we're going to learn about web page tools. We're going to learn about user experience. We're going to have a little look at search engine optimization and talk about some tips how you can improve your search engine optimization for free. And we're going to look at analytics as well. So the first thing we're going to look at is user experience and talk about how you can improve your user experience for your website and what user experience is. Does anybody know what user experience is? So say that again, sorry. Yeah, so how someone engages with it. So there's two things when you're talking about a website to consider. There's the user interface and the user experience. The user interface is how something looks, so buttons, colors, things like that. The user experience is how something feels. So user interface is what the product, service, or website looks like, the overall visual elements, example series of screens, buttons, and icons. And user experience is the overall experience that a person has as they interact with a product, service, website, and how easy it was to use. So it's amazing if you've got a fan-dabby-dozy website with great videos and everything, but it's no use if your customer and your user can't interact with that website properly. Can I just see a show of hands of how many times someone has, people have went onto a website, went to buy something, put something in the basket, and either you can't delete something out the basket, or you don't know how to get to the basket, and you don't know how to pay, and so they just thought, sod it, and gone off the website. So that is the user experience. So the customer has lost you because of that user experience. So we want to make sure that our user experience is as simple for the customer to use so they can get to the value as quickly and easy as possible. The value might be them buying something, signing up for something, anything like that, but you need to make it as easy and as simple as possible for the customer to get there. So when we talk about the customer getting to this value, we think about the sales funnel. Has anyone ever seen the traditional sales funnel? You might have done this if you've done business or anything like that. So when we look at the traditional sales funnel in terms of user experience, so the awareness and the interest is usually found on social media marketing. So nowadays, someone will find out online about a business predominantly through social media because of the paid advertising, or the pay-per-click, so the advertising on a Google search. So that is the awareness of the interest. The desire and the action is where the user experience comes in. So a customer has found out about your business, they love what you're doing, they go online, they really want to they've got a desire to buy whatever you're selling, and they want to take an action. But if your user experience is poor, then they can't do that action, and then that will drive traffic away from your website. So we need to make sure that your user experience is good. So we're going to have a little look at Netflix. Netflix do user experience so good, like they are like the holy grail of user experience. So when you look at the screen, what do you want to click on? Join free for a month. Yeah. There's only really one option. In the top right-hand corner, there is a sign-in button. but they're the only two options. You can't go wrong. And if you click join free for a month, it takes you this screen. 3 options. We've got your basic, your standard, and your premium. Click one of them, click continue with the bottom, and then you put your details in. It's so simple. So if you wanted to get to the value, which would be watching something on Netflix, you can do it with 3 steps. That's how easy it is. Amazon has got this nailed with their one-click payments. Sometimes you are buying things by accident, but you still get to that value as quickly and as simply as possible. So you need to think about your website. It might look great, but you want to test it with people and say, okay, how is someone interacting with this website? Are they doing what I want them to do? Are they getting where they need to go? Now I'm going to look at some user experience fails. The first one's offline, but I think it's a good example. The other 2 are online. And I want you to have a little look and tell me why are they user experience fail. So this is the first one. So why is this a user experience fail? Exactly. You'd probably end up getting the stairs. Well, you probably wouldn't if you were me. But it would drive you away from using the lift because you actually don't know if you're going up, if you're going down, where to get to the value. This next one actually pains me. Why is this a user experience fail and what could you do instead of this? So what would you do instead of a drop-down? Just have a text box where you can write stuff in. And not only do you have to fill it in once, you have to fill it in a second time underneath. So that would absolutely drive me mad. What about this third one? Pardon? Too much going on.
You can't see the main bits or where
What?
you can't read the stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of graphics in the way of where I might want to be.
Yeah, there's one thing which is completely hidden.
The loo. Oh, is that login?
That's login. So when customers try to log in and click the login button, the corner folds over and takes them to the question mark because they think you want to ask a frequently asked question. I was going to say, I didn't want to say who the bank was, but this is a well-known bank. So it just goes to show that even these big corporate companies can get this wrong. It's not just small businesses. Okay, so you need to make sure you test them and you make sure that your customer can get to the value for whatever your website is doing as quickly and as simple as possible. We're going to have a little look at SEO. I've got a quiz now. Has everyone got a smartphone, or on people on the table got a smartphone? Because we've got a quiz. I want you to go to, it'll come up in a minute, sorry. So search engine optimization. Show of hands who knows what SEO is. Okay, cool. So SEO, or search engine optimization, is the name given to activity that attempts to improve search engine rankings. So we'll talk about Google, just because that's the most obvious one. So when you are going on Google, there are 2 types of search engine optimization. There's the paid SEO, which is at the top, and it'll have a little green ad next to it, like a little green ad icon. And then there's the organic search engine optimization. So the paid is when a company or a business has paid for keywords. So you'll see here it says wedding speeches at the top. Those 3 first companies that you see with the ad next to them, they have paid Google for the word wedding speeches. So every time someone Googles wedding speeches, they will come up the top. And every time someone clicks on them, Google will charge them for that. So it's called pay-per-click, so they're paying per click. The bottom one is organic search engine optimization. So this is where companies and businesses have done little hints, little tricks to make sure that their website appears at the top of the first page on Google. Research has shown that we very rarely go on the second page, and if you're not on the first page or the first half of the second page, then there's like a 90% chance that you're not ever going to get seen. People very rarely will go past the second half of the first page. I'm sorry, the second half of the second page. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to have a little look now at analytics. So there are a couple of different ways you can look at analytics, and the first thing we're going to look at is our heat mapping. So when you look at this website, where is the first place that you want to click? Start for free or sign up for Ultra, yeah. So people were clicking on this website and they were getting an error message. So as you can see from the heat map there, this is where people have been clicking. So a heat map is basically somewhere where somewhere where the chaos is being, or they can actually do retina heat mapping now, where they can track where your eyeball is looking on the screen, which is like an advanced version of heat mapping. But this goes to show where people are clicking on the screen. What was the issue is that people were clicking sign up for free or start for free, and they kept getting an error message and would let them go further. Any ideas of why they were getting that error message? Yeah, so they hadn't put any details in. So people were clicking on there, but no one was actually clicking where the email, password, or phone number was. So for user experience, what could you do differently? Yeah. Yeah, so for better user experience, take all that off. It would look a lot nicer to look at with just one simple button on there. And then when someone clicked on that, a pop-up would appear so you know exactly what you need to do. So you take the data and the analytics from the heat mapping to improve your user experience. Another form of analytics is Google Analytics. So if you've got a website, you can sign up for Google Analytics. It's free. You get all the data that you want. It will tell you things like sessions. So how many website sessions there's been, how many users, it'll tell you how many new users there are, it'll tell you how many click-throughs, so click-throughs, how many pages they've visited on your website. So if you've got a home page, but all of your clothes are on a different page that you're selling, and you want people to go there, it will tell you if people are going to the page that you want to. If they're not, then you use the analytics to improve your user experience to make sure that the customer is getting to the value as simply and as quickly as possible. It also will tell you, as you can see the timeline across the middle, it will tell you how much traffic is going to your website. And you can use this in one of two ways. You can use it to make decisions on how your website, on what you'll do to your website because of this data. So, for example, if you realise that loads of people seem to be going on your website on a Friday afternoon because they're in the office and they're just searching online, maybe that's when you need to put new content out, or maybe you need to put new stuff on your website, because that's when the most organic traffic is going to the website. Or if you realise that your website is really quiet on a Sunday night because everyone's tucked up in bed watching Netflix, maybe that's when you need to do a bit of maintenance online and shut the website down, and that's when you do all your maintenance. Or if you realise that there are moments throughout the month where your website is really quiet, what can you do to improve the organic traffic that goes to your website? So it's all about looking at this data and using the data to better inform your decisions for your user experience, and it'll also improve your search engine optimization. So reflections. Top tips we would say is web tools, choose the right tool for your goal. So as you can see from our first exercise, there are so many tools out there. The Weebly one might not be for you, that's fine, but there will be one out there, and there'll be one for beginners if you are a beginner. So have a little look and do your research and find out which one works for you. UX, always provide value to your user and think of how can the user get to that value as simply and as quickly as possible. They're the two main things you want to consider, is being simple and quick. SEO, so think about links. So links from other websites back to your website will improve your SEO. Great way, like I said, is to get people to do blogs, or even on the social media, if you put a link, that'll improve your SEO as well. Keywords, so remember, go onto Google Keyword Finder and have a little look of what keywords are coming up that are under whatever you want to write about. So say, for example, if I put wedding speeches up on Keyword Finder, it'll probably come up with like weddings, bride, things like that. So have a little look what the keywords are, rob them and put them in your content. Your content. Speed, make sure that it's fast, it's not too slow. If you have got an amazing video, or if you've got any sort of feature that takes a little bit of time to upload, maybe you have to sacrifice that to improve your SEO. And original content, make sure it is your content. You can reference people's content, but everything else needs to be yours. And lastly, analytics. So you need to understand your user and test, and have a little look at that data and see what you can learn from that data and improve your website, user experience, and your SEO based on that data.